The headlines exploded. Harvard linguist questions real English in the Philippines. Dr. Alastair Finch, a Harvard authority, had dismissed Filipino English as a mere copy, lacking the authentic cadence of native speakers. The backlash was instant. Filipinos everywhere, teachers, call center agents, students, flooded social media with stories, videos, and open letters. This wasn't just about grammar. It was about respect, identity, and being seen. Dr. Finch, in his Cambridge office, was stunned by the uproar. He'd always seen English as a structured garden, Filipino English as a wild forest, studied from afar, never truly heard. The controversy forced him to confront his own blind spots. Harvard urged him to engage directly. An invitation arrived. Speak at a major conference in Manila, Global English in the 21st Century. Some warned him not to go, but Finch, proud and certain, accepted. He packed his theories, unaware he was embarking on a journey that would upend everything he believed. The world was watching, and so was he, about to learn what language really means to a nation. The stage was set for a confrontation that would echo far beyond academia. The Philippines was ready to speak for itself, and Dr. Finch, for the first time, would have to listen. The debate over real English was no longer academic. It was personal, global, and just beginning. Dr. Finch was a product of prescriptive linguistics, believing British and American English were the gold standard. Filipino English, to him, was a dialect, interesting, but not authentic. This view was common in academia, rarely challenged. He'd studied Filipino English from a distance, missing its creativity and cultural depth. The idea that Filipinos could shape English's future was radical, even threatening. But he was about to see the living spirit of the language he'd dismissed. Dr. Finch landed in Manila, greeted by heat, chaos, and a taxi driver named Rico. Rico's English was clear, confident, and uniquely Filipino. As they drove, Rico discussed politics, linguistics, and his daughter's dreams, all in English. Finch listened, his certainty wavering. At the hotel, English was the bridge between guests and staff, spoken with skill and ease. The receptionist switched between English, Tagalog, and German without missing a beat. This was not a lesser English, it was a tool of connection and commerce. That night, Finch replayed the day's encounters. He'd come to defend his theory, but reality was already challenging it. Filipinos wore English as their own, not as a borrowed costume. The cracks in his academic armor had begun to show. The Philippines was not what he expected. It was more. Seeking a break, Finch wandered into a cafe buzzing with students. He overheard a debate. English and Tagalog interwoven, ideas flying fast. This was Taglish, not a crutch, but a display of linguistic agility. At the market, vendors switched languages with ease, connecting with tourists and locals alike. English was a tool for survival, commerce, and storytelling. In a chapel, a lay minister prayed in English, words simple, heartfelt, and powerful. Finch realized English here was not just of the mind, but of the heart and soul. It was a living, breathing part of daily life. The language he'd dismissed was everywhere, vital, dynamic, and deeply Filipino. For the first time, Finch saw English not as a relic, but as a living force. The people weren't copying, they were creating, and he was finally listening. Each night, Finch's confidence eroded. His speech for the conference felt hollow, disconnected from the world outside. He'd planned to argue for a standard English, but what was standard now? English was everywhere, in every conversation, every dream. A barista's words struck him. It's just how we talk, like using both my hands. Language here was organic, not mechanical. Finch faced a choice: defend his old beliefs or accept the truth unfolding before him. The living river of Filipino English was undeniable. The conference ballroom was packed, anticipation high. Finch began his speech, repeating his old arguments about authentic cadence. A teacher, Mrs. Reyes, stood up. We have not borrowed English. We have paid for it, with our history. Our accent is our identity. Applause erupted. A student followed. Your theory is colonial. English is now global. We are a new center, not the periphery. Finch was stunned, not attacked, but taught. Their logic and pride dismantled his arguments. They weren't defending a language, they were redefining it. Under the stage lights, Finch's certainty vanished. He realized he was not the expert here. The real experts were in the room, speaking with their own cadence. The lesson was clear. Language belongs to those who live it. The old model was broken. A new understanding was being born, and Finch was finally ready to learn. Humbled, Finch visited Mrs. Reyes's crowded public school. The building was worn, but the students' minds were vibrant. In English, they debated, argued and dreamed, using the language to reach beyond their circumstances. Essays spoke of stars, struggles and hope. English was not just a subject, it was a bridge to the world. Finch saw not a variant, but a generation empowered. In that noisy, hot classroom, the truth hit him. He'd been utterly wrong. The language was alive, vital, and theirs. Finch knew what he had to do. It was time to set the record straight. Back at Harvard, Finch arranged a public lecture on Filipino English, a re-evaluation. He stood before a packed hall, humbled. I was wrong, he admitted. I spoke from arrogance and ignorance. He shared stories of Rico, the students, the teacher, the prayers. Filipinos are not copying English. They are co-authors of its future. He announced a new research partnership with Filipino universities. It was a public act of humility and courage. The apology was as loud as the insult and far more powerful. The headlines now read, Harvard professor admits I was wrong about Filipino English. In the Philippines, pride replaced outrage. Teachers, students and call center agents felt seen and validated. The story became a symbol of national identity and hope. Academic institutions worldwide began to rethink their biases. Finch, once a gatekeeper, became a champion for linguistic diversity. In Manila, a young girl who dreamed of stars read the news. She realized her voice, her accent, her Taglish was beautiful and strong. She held her dream tighter, knowing the world was ready to listen. The debate had ended, not in division, but in understanding and a new beginning.